Alrighty, fellas, yo, what's up? And my name is Patrouski. Welcome back to PokeMMO Stream Recap. This is Stream Recap, I believe, number 273. We have a lot to do today, and only so much time to do it. Today's goals are to do all 12 of the new Zodiac Masters. I feel like they should be able to be done probably within an hour would be my guess. We have the locations list, we have their teams list, we know the strategies. It should be pretty simple and pretty chill. Maybe I'm underestimating them though. Step 2 is going to be the Shaymin raid, okay? I don't know how developed strats are. From what I heard, it's just Heat Wave or just Eruption. I don't know if there's more to it than that. I'm guessing there is. I'm guessing there's like certain Pokemon you want to use at certain times or certain things. We'll look into those strategies. So step 1, Zodiac Masters. Step 2, Shaymin raid. And then step 3 is hopping back over to the Lunar New Year Andy account and grinding that. I want to be on that account. I have a limited time challenge going on. There's only 5 days left in the event. Tonight's the Super Bowl. Valentine's Day is coming up. Realistically, I only have about 3 or so days to grind Lunar New Year Andy. So I gotta get to work. I gotta put my foot on the gas pedal. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. I'm gonna start off with Zodiac Masters, and I'll be doing a separate video for that guide for like who's interested. But hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully you're enjoying the event. Let's just go ahead and jump into the work we gotta do today. There's a lot of people in chat talking about, they're asking me for easy strats for slacking and being stuck on slacking. And my honest answer is, I'm sorry. Number 1, I'm sorry. Number 2, I don't have an easy strat for slacking. Like it's just a really, really hard raid. Probably too hard in my personal opinion. I don't know how people solo queue slacking. I don't know how it took me a while to beat. I don't want not difficult raids. Slacking ended up being my favorite raid, and it ended up being the most satisfying raid to me. Which is really cool with slacking. This is from Cav, a raid expert. I contend that slacking isn't that hard. People just try to do it with mons that don't do a lot of damage and keep trying despite lacking damage. That's one of my number 1 critiques of Pokemon raiders in general is I think too many people bring utility Pokemon because you can build a utility mon and then bring it to like every fight, when in reality sometimes you just need more damage. Too many people are trying to play the support role in Pokemon raids, interestingly enough. But yeah, solo queue is a different story. Yeah, that's my biggest thing. Which I don't know. I think it is okay for raids to exist that can't be solo queued. I don't know if it's okay for temporary raids that need to be beaten within a 2 weeks time period that can't be solo queuable. And I'm not like hard on that opinion. That's my general thoughts off the top of my head. I don't know within like a 15-day event if we should have raids that aren't solo queuable. That seems kind of intense. With permanent raids like Heatran, if you were like, oh man, like Heatran's too hard, I can't solo queue it, I'd be like, I'm sorry, bro, but that's a permanent legendary high tier raid. Probably shouldn't be able to solo queue it. You probably should have to go link up with people, coordinate, develop a strategy ahead of time, practice over and over and over again. You know, like that's one where like, okay, you know, that makes sense. But the bigger problem with the slacking raid, in my opinion, is just the disparity of difficulty, right? It's weird that every other raid compared to slacking is just so much easier. Like the slacking raid, in my opinion, this year was like 10 times harder than every other raid before and after it, right? Slacking was the hardest raid by far, and it wasn't even close. And it sucks. I would bet there's a lot of people who were able to do every other raid, but just can't beat slacking. And I think that much of a difficulty disparity is not a good sign of balance, you know? If one random like 4-star or whatever rate it is, like it's just so much harder than all the other ones, I think it's a little weird, you know? I think it's weird how like it's just way too hard in my opinion in comparison to the other raids. Yeah, Zapdos is just so good. We're talking about like Pokemon needed to fight the Zodiac Masters, and this is the same with like Cynthia, the same with Morimoto. Zapdos does things that like other Pokemon don't really do. The electric flying type is just a very, very good, unique type, especially going against a lot of double battle trainers. Being able to pair up Zapdos perfectly with one of the other strongest PVM Pokemon in the game with Garchomp, and being able to spam Earthquake and Discharge perfectly when they don't hit each other, right, into the opponents. It's so good. People always said like, oh, why doesn't PokeMMO just add legendaries? Like, why don't, just add legendaries? Like, just ban them in PvP. And the real answer is, I mean, look at Zapdos, dude. Zapdos, in my opinion, has made a lot of PVM trivial in PokeMMO, at least in terms of high-level trainers, things like Morimoto, things like Cynthia, things like these Zodiac Masters. You could beat them before, obviously, but Zapdos has made them so much like such a drastic degree easier, in my personal opinion. It's kind of insane. Like for me, I used to beat Morimoto / Cynthia 50-50. Like half the time I'd lose, half the time I'd win. Now with Zapdos, I never lose. It's literally like 100% win rate. It's that much of a difference, right? And how much easier a Pokemon makes something. You could always win. You could always find a way, but how much easier it makes something is the true level of its power. Zapdos, yeah, so you have to be careful with adding legendaries because it's not just PvP. In PokeMMO, we're not just worried about the PvP systems, we're worried about the PvM systems, which is something you don't really have to worry about in traditional Pokemon or single player Pokemon. The storyline is just kind of unbalanced inherently, right? It's a kid's game, and that's okay. In PokeMMO, we want the storyline to have some balance. We need raids and endgame PvM content to have balance. We also have to implement Pokemon and balance things around future content, right? Raids weren't in the game a year and 2 months ago, a year and a month ago, 13 months ago. Raids were not in the game, right? And everybody was saying, oh, just add legendaries, Tech W. And it's like, bro, I bet you they have something in the pipeline, like, that's gonna be relevant to where you can't just have Brooklyn, and boom, raids came out, and it's like, now all the players were like, oh, I get it now. But like, I really encourage people to just trust the devs. Like, they're not stupid, you know, they make mistakes, but they're not actually brain dead. You know, I mean, it might shock some players. They know what they're doing. They have a lot of experience playing their game, developing their game, and I think they do a pretty good job. So just try to trust someone whose job it is to do something on average, in my opinion. Someone said Amulet coins are way down. I wouldn't call this way down. I would call it a bit of a readjustment. Recently, Amulet coins went from around 15K all the way up to 30K, which was an insane 100% price increase, which is really, really crazy for such a consistently used item in the game. I'm guessing the reason Amulet coins have gone down is because currently a lot of Riches charms are coming into the game via the Lunar New Year event. So it makes sense. You're getting a better alternative for a cheaper price for a lot of, depending on your run, of course. People are probably stocking up on buying and using Riches charms. Also, probably people are doing less Jimmy runs right now during the event because you can make more money playing the event, doing abundant shrine, etc. So people are probably just stocking up on them and holding them as opposed to actually consuming them and using them. To further expand on my Amulet coin position, where I don't think it's like I wouldn't personally, it's just semantics, maybe you can feel free to disagree. I wouldn't call Amulet coins way down. I would call it a readjustment in price, and this is the reason. So for a long time, this is a 3-month chart, right? So 3 months back they were around 20K, and this is like pretty consistent. Amulet coins are anywhere from like 15 to 20K generally. They've been like 25K, like 15 to 25K in the past, but over recent years they've been 15 to 25K, right? So you can see them here slowly rise up like pretty consistently. Once there was an wild item change, right? And they kind of became more scarce. They kind of became more used. There we go. They kind of like just gradually went apart, which is a pretty fair, correct change. But when they drop like this, I would call this a correction rather than Amulet coins are way down, right? If Amulet coins were 20K and they went down to 15K, then I would call them way down. But I think something's price is in correlation to what its normal price is. Amulet coins are not normally 30K, right? They were 30K for about a month or two, right? So when you say like, oh, if something goes from 20K to 30K within 1 month and then it spikes back down to 23K, I wouldn't personally, so maybe it's semantics, I wouldn't personally call that Amulet coins are way down. I would say that's a readjustment, right? You should be expecting them to go down prior. You should be expecting it, in my opinion, if something is like going up like that to some extent. Now it'll readjust and then maybe go back up, but probably not with an item like Amulet coin. It's a pretty consistent consumable. But yeah, just to further expand on that, it was a good question. Whew, we did it, boys. We got all these Zodiac Masters done and got ourselves the Zodiac Tang outfit, as well as way more Pokeyen than I expected. You also got lucky reds and red envelopes for defeating these as well. Doing swarms this year, it took about 11 to 12 hours to do all the swarms plus the Zodiac Masters. That's included in that time frame. You ended up earning about 450k Pokeyen per hour if you did swarms and the Zodiac Masters efficiently, which is kind of insane. That's like, even for events, 450k an hour over like a long period of time, I ended up with 5 million Pokeyen, including the Zodiac Tang, the mysterious Cherish Balls from swarms, the lucky red envelopes, and the red envelopes from defeating the Masters. So really shocked, really impressed. That was really, really good Pokeyen per hour. We did it. Kind of exhausted. It sucks that I kind of have to go do the Shaymin raid now. I'm kind of hoping it's easier than I expect, but the Zodiac Masters were pretty chill, but they took longer than I expected. It took about like an hour and a half efficiently. I took like a restroom break here and there, but it should be like about an hour and a half, maybe an hour to an hour and a half if you speed run it. I think if you speed run it, it could be about 5 minutes per fight. So 5 minutes times 12, it's a little over. Now you can do an hour and a half pretty easily, in my opinion. Wait, this is actually really cool. I didn't even know this. Apparently, the I think Bocce, another PokeMMO YouTuber, got the world first Shaymin kill. Let's.
Had a very speedy kill, but I believe the first overall kill goes to Bocce.
Yeah, dude, shout out to him. Congratulations. I've seen his videos pop up, but I didn't even know that he got first kill. I think it's a big deal. It's really important to shout out people who go through that effort to get the first kill on a raid like that. There's so much innovation, so much speed, so much dedication that goes into stuff like that. That's awesome, dude. I'm gonna prepare for the Shaymin raid myself, but dude, congrats to him. That is really cool to see and something that should be echoed. People should know that name for getting first kill. Assad, dude, I don't know if you got this question, but will you be hatching any Pokemon here? Getting the Flower Paradise hatch tag might seem thematic for some mons. I think it's maybe, I haven't decided. I think it's cool to be aware of. If anybody in chat, if anybody watching wants to get the Flower Paradise hatch location, I think it's kind of cool. It's a very like temporary, you know, thing. It's kind of unique and interesting. It's not really valuable. People always ask like, oh, like do hatch locations increase the value of Pokemon, like to sell on the GTL? Not really, my personal opinion. Maybe to some, or like really old ones, or if you have like North Pole hatch location Pokemon, that's a hatch location that actually probably is worth some money, because that is a hyper old, no longer in the game Christmas event, right? That's a cool one. But things like Flower Paradise, I don't think there's any value there. But if you want to do it for fun, go for it. I could breed my shiny, I have a shiny Roselia that I could breed and give it this location, which would be pretty cool for a Roselia. So maybe something like that, but we'll have to see. My Pokeyen stack is pretty rough. Doing a shiny breed with only 4 mil is not something I love to do, but we're also coming to the end of event season, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world in my opinion. Dude, I'm learning a lot about Gravity as a move. I knew that, so I always knew of Gravity as a move that you could use to counter magnet rises and like levitate mons and stuff like that to get EQs off. That I understood. I didn't know that apparently Gravity affects way more than I realized. Apparently Gravity raises accuracy, like which is why you're able to hit like heat waves and stuff like that, 100% accuracy in this fight. I had no idea. It doesn't say that anywhere, maybe on the Bulbapedia, but like I didn't know that. And then secondly, apparently you cannot high jump kick. You just can't use that move in Gravity because the logic is the Pokemon's jumping, but I've never heard this. I've never heard 9,000 hours played in PokeMMO, had no idea you couldn't high jump kick under Gravity effects. And I'd be willing to bet a lot of people, like, that's crazy. That is such an interesting, niche, unique mechanic. That's so fucking cool. This Shaymin fight is so easy here that I'm not even like paying much attention. I go Typhlosion here. Typhlosion here, and then I Tailwind next turn on my Whimsicott. Yeah, this has been such a chill fight, honestly, with the new Gravity mon. The only concern was Sableye with Gravity. Some people were saying they used Medicham with Scarf to set Gravity. Clink Clank, you know, really whatever fast mon with a Scarf to set Gravity seems worth. This fight is really chill. If you follow the guide correctly, and if you dodge a little bit of RNG or certain, you can do strategic things to dodge that RNG, you know? So there's a lot of things like that. Also, Gravity cancels a move if a Pokemon is in the middle of their bounce/fly. That's at least intuitive and makes sense, but I still didn't know it. That's crazy. That's like really, really interesting. That's very, very cool. This fight's going very, very well. Shaymin's at 40%-ish HP. Let's see. 43, 37.4%. Should be dead in no time, boys. I'm newer to the game and had a quick question. Do swarms go away when the event ends? This is a great question. Swarms don't go away, but they will change in a couple of different ways. Number one, the Pokemon that you see right now in swarms, they're event exclusive swarms, so you won't see these exact same species. You'll see different types of species. Dr. Shaq, thanks for the Twitch Prime, dude. Helps out a ton. Or just Twitch sub in general. Thank you so much. So I need to Tailwind really quick here. But yeah, swarms will change. What Pokemon you will see will change, and then you cannot turn them in you can't turn them in obviously for Mysterious Cherish Balls. But swarms are a year-round mechanic. They just operate in slightly different ways in and outside of events. That's a great question. Would it be interesting to have swarm turn-ins year-round? Obviously for lesser rewards, but it would make swarms more interesting during the rest of the year. I'm so down for that, honestly. I feel like the only swarms I go to throughout the year, maybe if I'm feeling up to it, is like shiny check rare swarms like Umbreons or rares, you know? But like, yeah, maybe it'd be interesting to have a more... to be able to consume them year-round. Also, that would probably consume... a fair amount of players would probably consume 1x31 Pokemon with that, right? Which would at least help the economy a little bit, I would argue, in that situation. That's pretty sick. New player here, what Pokemon should I buy first and for what content? I have 2 mil. This is a great question, and it does depend on what time of the year it is, right? So event season's coming to a close. I would not recommend buying raid Pokemon right now. Now in 3 months or so, or whenever you build more Pokeyen, I would recommend trying to prep raid Pokemon for next year's Halloween, Christmas, and Lunar New Year events, or possible extra raids we maybe get in the summertime, maybe a permanent raid release. We've been really hoping on that, so maybe, but like that's in the future. Right now, if you're a new player, what Pokemon should you buy for 2 mil? I actually want to make a new guide coming up about like how to spend your first 1 mil. I did a video on that a while back, and it's changed a little bit. Right now, I recommend number 1, a trainer rerun Cloyster. That's gonna run you about 200k. A gym rerun team which double Typhlosion, a cheap Torkoal, a cheap Whimsicott. It's not gonna cost you too much Pokeyen. Sorry, one second. I put my little gravity, and switch my music back up. That can cost you like between 400 to 600k, or even less than 100k if you breed them and EV train and XP train them yourself. So really, all the Pokemon like prices really depend on how you get them. If you buy them at level 100 or whatever, so you can spend 200k on a Cloyster or maybe less. Let's say 400k on a Jimmy Run team. That's 600k spent so far. So Cloyster Gym Run team was 600k spent. A Catching Breloom you really want. That'll cost you 200k at level 100 or so, out maybe like 300k outright. So that's 800k spent. Now we have 3 things. At 800k spent with 3 things, you still have, if you got the 1 mil question's easier. 2 mil is a little tougher. I would start at with 200k left in your budget. I would get Catching Smeargles, Soak Smeargles, Sweet Scent Pokemon. These are going to be super cheap, like less than 50k or so, and then EV train, XP train them. And then you want to go into more utility Pokemon. From there, I would just buy Pokeballs, buy things like Timer Balls, buy things like Quick Balls, buy things like stock up on Pokeballs, stock up on, you know, stuff like that. Keep revives, potions. Don't neglect items. Buy things like Choice Band, Choice Specs, Choice Scarf are super important. Assault gear, XP shares. There's so many. All the gems are really good for raids. You might want to get a couple of those. All the plus 20% damage items, charcoal, mystic water, all the plates, like these are all relevant things for raids and even other PVM content. Double choice specs for Jimmy runs. There's a ton of from there. There's a ton of options there with items and stuff. There's so much that you need. Life orbs. What was the question? How to spend your first 2 mil or so in PokeMMO? You generally want to spend your first 2 mil investing into ways to make more Pokeyen in your account. And at a certain point, you do want to keep some cash on you. You want to keep an amount of Pokeyen so you can buy something if you really need. So you can breed for profit. So you can buy event things, do event things. And honestly, keep in mind, maybe buy a vanity or 2. Don't also spend your money only efficiently, right? Maybe if you got 2 mil, man, you know, maybe blow 300 to 500k of it. Maybe not that much, but some of it on a vanity, you know? Go treat yourself, right? Don't gamble. That's I wouldn't recommend. But let's say you want a red Oni mask, right? What's a vanity that you really, really like? A dope vanity, a cool vanity, a cute vanity, whatever it may be. Find something that fits your tastes. I feel like that's a really important thing to go for. All right, I think we've got it this time, fellas. He's 19% HP heading into this turn instead of 24%. This might be it, boys. This has to be it, I feel like. I'm gonna hit the big ol' big man blast burn on the Charizard here. It should be enough damage. We should be good. The drought comes in. Let's throw up the blast burn. Yeah, we got a good burn early on in this fight, which was nice. This should be it, boys. This should be it. This should be the 2025 Shaymin. The first time we've ever had to beat Shaymin in a raid to actually catch it. Like, this is not what we had it last year. We could try to fucking throw a Pokeball at it. You know, maybe false swipe Spore it for 30 turns, right? This is honestly more, I mean, it's way more interesting, way more engaging. I think this is better. It's also like the difficulty. I think this year's raids were really, really fair, except for Slaking. I think I like the balanced of all of the raids this year. I think Shaymin is very fairly balanced. It's like difficult, but not too difficult. Took 3 attempts. I think that's reasonable. I genuinely think everything else is balanced. Everything else is really easy, honestly, except for Slaking. Slaking was so fucking hard. I genuinely think that, I think it should be nerfed / should have been nerfed. I think it might be too late. We might not see it, unfortunately, but there is the Shaymin catch for me, boys. I don't usually do this, but I'll put it in a luxury ball. I usually just throw the Pokeball, but you know what? That's kind of fun. Why not? We'll luxury ball the bad boy. Let's see these stats. Now, Shaymin's stats don't really matter. It can just be adjusted with stuff, but that's pretty good. It saves you some Pokeyen not having to use. I mean, residuals are pretty cheap, to be fair, but that's my 3rd Shaymin, dude. Shout out to Oso, Cav, and Shadow for helping me complete that. That was an amazing link. We all did a great job. I want to go back to my PC just to see the fact that I now have 3 Shaymins, because that's kind of cool. I do kind of love three Shaymins is pretty. I kind of doubt there's that many players. I shouldn't say that many. When I say I doubt there's that many players that have 3 Shaymin, I mean like less than 10,000, which is still a lot of players, a lot of people. Maybe less than that. I don't know how. I don't know. How many players do you guys think have all 3 Shaymins that have been playing Pokemon consistently over the past 3 years and actually got all 3 Shaymins? Maybe it is less than like 2,000 players. Less than, you know, it might be smaller than maybe less than it might be less than I realize. But I'm pretty happy. Yeah, 3 Patrouski OT Shaymins. I'm pretty happy with these little hedgehogs, dude. Alrighty, fellas, but that is it for me today. Hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Like it if you did, dislike it if not. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos. Follow the Twitch to see streams like this live when they happen and to see all the content as it flows out. Discord's links down below if you're interested in that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo donations do go an extremely long way and allow me to do this in the first place. Hopefully the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace-a-rito. Hey, thank you so very much for watching until the very end of the video. That means the world to me. And if your name is listed here, you're the reason I'm able to do this in the first place by going above and beyond and supporting the channel via YouTube memberships and Twitch Primes. Thank you so much. Have a great day.